In this video, I want to talk about managing advertisements in WordPress using plugins. So if your client needs the ability to show ads and sell ads, you're going to want to use a plugin. You don't want to start from scratch on this sort of thing. And the easiest way to do that is to take a look at some of these ad managers. Now, some of the most popular are Advertising Manager, All-in-One AdSense and YPN, Ad Rotate, WordPress 125, Oz Who Sees Ads, Administer, and OpenX. Now, OpenX is a special situation that I'm going to talk about. There are a lot of paid plugins as well. I've never actually worked with any of them myself, but I've heard that they can be more powerful than some of the ones you get in the free division. But I must say there's a lot of power in them, and again, it depends on what your client needs and wants. Let's take a look at some of these in a bit more depth and give you some idea of how they work. So first of all, we're looking here at Advertising Manager, a screenshot of managing some of the ads. And you can see you choose which name you're going to give each area. This particular one is very, very geared towards ad networks. So Google AdSense and that sort of thing. You can do your own ads in here, but this is really what it's made for, is to tie into these networks of ads. Here's an example of editing one of those settings. And you can choose the format and so forth, where it's going to display. If it's text oriented, you can change the colors and so forth. There's OpenX, by the way. It ties in with OpenX, and we'll be talking about that some more in a bit. And then you plug in your code from the particular network. You can do things before and after the code. Lots of flexibility there, but as I say, this one's especially tied to ad networks. So if you work with a lot of ad networks, your client works with them, that's a good one to use. Ad Rotate, another very popular one. This is much more general. This is really for banner advertising, and you're creating your own banners, or the clients are clients are doing it. Doesn't matter. This isn't tied so much to networks, although it can handle them as well. Very, very powerful. Here are some of the features. Again, you want to look for the ability to give the advertiser statistics, click-through rates, that sort of thing. Very, very important. Being able to set expiration dates and campaign dates and so forth, also very, very important. So again, it depends on what you're going to need. Here's that all-in-one AdSense and YPN that I was talking about, where you're basically doing two specific ad networks. There's not a lot on this screen here, but you can use short codes to determine where the ads are placed within a post. By default, it goes on every single post in a specific place, but then you can affect that with short codes on individual posts. That's the one there, all-in-one AdSense and YPN. This is a very interesting one, WP125, actually quite popular considering that it's somewhat limited, but it was a very popular style, especially a couple of years ago, and still useful, especially on blogs. It basically sells 125 by 125 block ads, and it does a good job of it, and very easy to use, very straightforward, but it is limited to this style. I suppose you could modify it, of course, but then you're defeating sort of the purpose of a plugin. There's other plugins that will handle multiple sizes, so you're better off looking at those. All right, OpenX. Now, I've mentioned this a number of times. One of the reasons I like OpenX, and it's a completely free system in this structure, not the enterprise one, obviously, but it's called OnRamp. That's their latest designation for it. Totally free, but it's hosted on their servers, so it's a third-party solution. All of those other ones we were looking at, they're tied directly into WordPress and they're working off of your server. Now, ad networks, of course, are serving from their servers, but any other banners that you're uploading yourself, they're used on your server. They're served by you, or your client's server, obviously. But this runs everything off a third-party server, including the management system and so forth. And it is a very powerful management system. So, for example, you can target ads by any number of variables, IP addresses, by wording in the URL. Very, very powerful to use. You can also run, and again, this is something I like, there is a version you can run on your own server, so you could set up a separate account just for serving ads. And it could serve, I have clients who have several different websites, all being served by their OpenX network. Now the trick here is you've got to maintain it, of course, and keep up with the updates and so on. With OnRamp, with this one, that's all done on their server, so you don't have to worry about it. I kind of like that. Now it does have a limitation on the number of impressions it will serve, and you start to pay after a while. That keeps changing. They keep changing the model of that. So when you're looking at it for a client, make sure you understand the point at which they may have to start paying. But you can serve a lot of ads before you have to pay. So that can be a very powerful way, especially as I mentioned, if your client has multiple sites, even if they're not WordPress sites, they could run everything off of this. So a whole lot of options for you as far as serving ads are concerned, some built into WordPress, some third party, but lots of different ways you can serve your clients.